We're gonna begin lying on our back. So let's roll down. No blanket under your back, all right? Hands flying open, feet in standing, walking them in, hip distance away, and drop the knees together. Taking the left hand and placing it on your heart, and the right hand placing it down between your belly button and the pubic bone. And just begin to feel yourself inhale into the bottom hand. So nice, deep, long inhale. And then exhale, dropping the lower hand first, and then the upper hand. So inhaling into the lower hand, and then the upper hand, and then exhaling out of the lower hand and out of the upper hand. So as you begin to find your rhythm, inhaling, nice and long, steady breath, and exhaling. If you haven't breathed in deeply in a while, you might feel yourself be a little bit dizzy. That's okay. Just inviting new oxygen, new air into the lungs. And then releasing the arms down, but keeping the nice long breath. Noticing how as you breathe in and fill the lungs, it also fills the body with the vibration of life force. And as you exhale out of the body, releasing anything you no longer need. Doing so fully and really feeling the diaphragm do the work. The diaphragm for the lungs draws the air in. And as you exhale, you feel rectus abdominis drawing down and the belly button back. And begin to invite the movement of the pelvis, which is not actually using the pelvic floor, but more of the sensation of the movement only being pressing the spine to the floor. So very small movement, inhaling, softening out of it, exhaling, drawing rectus abdominis down, getting the sensation of the belly button going to the floor, and then lifting up to your heart, and then releasing it out. So it's almost as if there's a string on the backside of your belly button, and you're drawing it down to the floor and then lifting it up to your heart, to get the sensation of encouraging that diaphragm to blow the air out of the lungs. And then as you release, you feel the belly soften, the diaphragm working, drawing the air down in, all the way down into the lower belly. We'll have 3 more of those. And on this next one, begin to invite the pelvic floor into this. And I want you to become really mindful of the pelvic floor engaging and avoiding cinching down. So just because you invite the pelvic floor into play, becoming aware that it's there, doesn't mean you have to grip down with a death grip on it. That is a mind movement. Let this be a soul movement, gentle, encouraging, supportive. And notice that you can actually flatten the back with the gentle movement of all muscles. Supportive movements. A lot of times our mind says, oh, if a little is good, more is better. Not necessarily. Sometimes, most times, less is more. One more of these all the way through. And then release the knees into your chest and gently begin to rock side to side. Noticing where in the body you might be meeting resistance. Where in the body there is openness, release. Opening those knees a little bit wider, just inviting those hip sit bone attachments, which would be the hamstrings, to begin to loosen. And then set your feet down the width of the mat, opening the arms wide to a T position. Engage that pelvic floor gently and drop the belly button to the floor as you allow the knees to drop to the right side of the body. And if you want to deepen this morning twist, you can look to the left hand. Doing so while gently supporting the pelvic floor, but allowing space for the body to breathe in and breathe out. Stepping onto the mat for the beginning of the day. Every moment you breathe in, you have a new moment. You have a new opportunity to change your thoughts, change your patterns, change your habits. So even though we're entering into the new year, every moment is a new moment. Always shifting, always changing. Inhaling, bringing that nose back to center. Exhaling. Inhaling, bringing the knees back to center. Exhaling. Nice deep inhale, re-engage everything. Feel that back flat into the floor. Then exhale the knees to the other side, to the left. Have a couple inhales here before you deepen it. Just because you can does not mean that you have to. So have a few breaths here. Feel how this is really opening through the legs. I feel it through my right quad, my right IT band. That's down the side of my leg. And then on the next inhale, exhale, turning the nose to look the other direction. Notice where you might feel it here. It's always interesting to me because my mind thinks it knows. And then it's not ever where I know that I think it is. How's that for a profound statement? Inhaling, exhaling. Feeling the softening happen on the exhale. How you can soften yet still be supportive. So these little twists will begin to build the heat. Inhaling your head back to center. Exhaling. Inhaling, bringing your knees back to center. Exhaling. Feel that back go to the floor on the exhale. Inhale, release it out. Exhale, draw it in. So beginning to roll into pelvic tilts. So I'm not sure that you can feel, I see it in my body, but feel it in your own body. Close your eyes. Exhale, draw it down. Inhale, release it out. Exhale, draw it down. Inhale, release it out. One more time. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, release it out. And release those knees back wide into the armpits. Rocking side to side. Just letting this be about the opening through the low back and then bringing the knees to the center. Really begin to rock them one at a time. When you rock them one at a time, it creates almost a circle around the sacrum. And then set those feet down hip distance apart. Hands come down beside you. Take a nice deep inhale in. Exhale. Feel that body flatten to the floor. We're going to do 4 more pelvic tilts. And this is 4. And 3 more. And 2 more. And last one. All the way in. Hold this in, but continue to breathe. Notice if your feet are hip distance apart and if they're close into your behind. Because although we're still holding this pelvic tilt in, on the next exhale, inhale, exhale, roll up into just a half bridge. Just a little half bridge. Make sure that you imagine that you're holding a block. Don't have to do it first thing this morning. Exhaling, rolling down. And then nice long inhale, inhaling, rolling up. Lifting a little bit higher, feeling those feet work down into the floor. Breathing into it. Exhaling, rolling down. Inhaling, rolling up. And this time we're going to hold. If you want to clasp your hands underneath your body, you can. You may or may not have space. It doesn't matter. If you can, that's great. Find your breath. Begin to feel your glutes engage and lift yourself a little bit higher. Feel the heat begin to build. Releasing the hands. Exhaling, rolling down, releasing the knees back into the chest. Gently rocking side to side. Opening those knees wider. This time heading into happy baby. So if you have the space in your body to take a hold of your feet, see if you can hook your hands around the outside of your feet. And open those knees down. And now if you can't, a nice option is taking a hold of your ankles. If the ankles are inaccessible, behind the knees. Find what works for you. Close your eyes. Feel those hips begin to soften open. Staying with the breath. Lengthening through the crown of your head, feeling the back flatten against the floor. And then just start a gentle rocking side to side. Gentle rocking. This just massages the kidneys and the adrenal glands. They're in the back side of the body. Begins to open up along the spine. Gets the lymphatic system moving. Deepen your rocking. Deepening up. Letting it move. Nicely done. Beginning to still and bring those feet to the soles together. Open those knees just as wide as you can get them. Supine cobbler. Draw those knees in. Lengthen through the left leg. Lengthen through the right leg. Point the fingers, point the toes. Deep breath. Breathe it out. Let it go to the big side. On the next inhale, roll to your right side. Use your arm as a pillow. Take a moment. Feel the body come back into itself. And then press all the way up. Coming right into cobbler's pose. So the further out your feet are, the lower your knees will drop. So it's not about how close you can get your knees in, but giving yourself the space to allow those hips to begin to open. If you need to find the sit bones, you can do that. You have the space to draw your heels in, do that. And instead of forcing your knees down, allow them to just simply drop. What would it feel like to let go of the jaw? Without forcing it, just let that jaw drop down. And notice as you draw that belly button back and up, lift through your heart, grow long in your crown, the hips naturally respond by opening. And if they don't, it's okay. Breathe into it. Growing long in your crown, begin moving forward, hinging at the hips, leading with your heart. So I went about 2 inches and that's it for me. There it is. Be mindful that if you're holding onto your feet, that you're not wrenching your ankles. So sometimes it's really nice to hold on to the ankles because it gives you something to hold on to. The mind loves to have things to hold on to. Go long in that crown. And on the exhale, notice what happens in the hips as you move forward. Do they tighten? What's happening in the mind? Is it tightening as well? Doesn't matter, just notice. Dropping out of the shoulders. Inhaling, coming up, drawing those knees in together, lengthening straight through those heels, coming into Dandasana. Hands come beside your bottom, okay? Just to encourage. Now, some of you have super long arms, so hands can go back, they can go to the side, but right here. So what's happening here, we think it's the back of our legs. It's also this part of the arm. That's part of the reason of pulling the fingertips forward. So if you notice, our feet are forward, and if I were to put my hands in front of me and do the same movement, it's opening the bottom side of my arm, which mimics the calf. So if my wrist was equivalent to the ankle, this is my calf, this is my knee, this is the back of my leg. So oddly enough, our arms mimic our legs. Breathe into it. Feel those palms press into the floor. Feel the heel of your hand press in. Now, feel your heels press away from you. Inhaling those hands up. Exhaling straight forward. When you meet resistance, let your hands come down, which for me is pretty darn quick. And that's okay. No judgment in this. Allowing. Only allowing. Tipping the chin, growing long in that crown. Feel the head come out of the shoulders. As the head comes out of the shoulders, feel the spine come out of the sacrum, which is the base of your spine. Nicely done. Inhaling the hands up, circling them around, palms come back onto the floor. Lean back into those palms, engage that pelvic floor, and begin to lift up into reverse plank. We'll be here 3 breaths. And then exhale, lower down, inhaling those hands up, exhaling forward, 3 breaths. Notice how we go one direction, it opens the other direction. Nicely done. Inhaling those hands up, circling them around. We're going to do cycles of 3 long breaths. So if the mind needs something to manage, that's what it can manage. Exhaling, lifting up, lengthening through the crown of your head. That's 2. And there's 3. Exhaling down, inhaling those hands up. Exhaling, flying forward. This is the last one. Notice if you're getting any closer to your feet. It doesn't matter if you are not, and it doesn't matter if you are. It's an awareness of noticing what's opening. Last one, inhaling those hands, circling them around. All the way back. Exhaling, lifting up. Feel that belly button draw down to the spine. So as the belly button draws down to the spine and lifts up, physics is that the body will lift up. Last breath. Exhaling, releasing down. Release those legs, release those arms, give them some movement, and then spin around into tabletop. Okay. We're gonna just pass your tabletop here. So do a little movement through the hips. We've kind of done some static movement, do some circles, circle the other way. Feel the body begin to open. Now, if you use blocks, let your blocks be handy. And if you're not a block user, that's fine. Inhaling, bring the right foot forward into low lunge, sink down into low lunge, okay? So we have a choice here. If you want to deepen this, you can lift up into high lunge, but low lunge is perfectly acceptable. Bring your block next to your foot, engage that core, inhale, spin open into a twist. Now I'm gonna come out of it and just look around, check everybody, make sure our knees are protected. Yeah. Make sure our hands are parallel, lengthening through the crown of the head. Feel that opening right through here, okay? Good. Good lifting, yep, looks really good. Excellent. Feeling those knees move to the little toe just to keep the energy moving to the outside. Looks good at home. Breathing into it. Staying here a little bit longer. Continue to do all those little micro movements. Belly button to the spine. Doesn't necessarily mean a micro movement is deepening. Sometimes it's softening. Inhaling through those fingertips, exhaling, coming back down, releasing that foot back, opening the knees wide, and sinking back into child's pose. And as you sink back into child's pose, be mindful of your knees if you have knee injuries. Notice that as we open the knees wider, it deepens the stretch in the hips. So I just learned this really fun fact the other day. I used to always open my knees so that I'd make room for my belly. And isn't this a cool thing that it's not that at all? It's deepening the deep rotators of the hip. So you can fold over the body, but it's impossible for the hips to open. So if the knees were together and you folded over your body, it lengthens through the back, through the spine. But when we're working through the hips, opening the knees, the wider you open your knees and the deeper you can sit back, the more space is created in the hips. Now, remember, more is not always better. Find where your opening happens. Inhaling, rising back up, coming back into tabletop. We're gonna reverse the circle. So last time I went clockwise. So this time I'm gonna go counterclockwise. Circling it around. This is getting not only the knees, but the shoulders as well, the wrists and the hips. And then come to stillness, coming right into the tabletop. Feel that belly button come up to the spine, lifting up to the heart. So in tabletop, as you lift the spine, lift that belly button up to the heart, you feel almost a sensation of bearing down the back, drawing your shoulder blades down. These are really teeny, subtle movements, but it is part of the core structure. So our core is not only the pelvic floor, the rectus abdominis, transverse muscles, which are your waist muscles, as well as a muscle called the quadratus lumborum, which is along the back on either side. Breathing into it. And on the next inhale, bring that left foot forward. Whatever that looks like in your body, bring it forward, sinking down. Placing that block next to your foot, sink down into it, let the knee travel to the outside of that foot, and then spin open. If you have to move your shirt or anything. Yes, I heard that. Sometimes the hips will open. Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a good thing.
All right, it was a good pop. Sometimes the joints will pop and release and carry on. Find your breath. Feel the ringing out of the spine. Feel the opening. Tip that chin just slightly and lengthen through the crown of the head. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Inhale through those fingertips. Exhale, bringing it back down. Moving that block out of the way. Stepping that foot back, opening those knees wide. Notice how when you sink back this time, the body feels more balanced. Left, right, right side is even. Sinking down into it. Drinking it in. Nicely done. Inhaling, rolling back up. This time coming into tabletop. Noticing that your knees are under your hips, your hands are under your shoulders. We're going to drop down into cow. Look at nice long inhale. Exhale back into cat. Inhale down. Exhale up. Last one. Inhaling down. Exhaling up. And then inhaling right back into tabletop, curling the toes under and lifting the tail up into downward facing dog. So here's our dog. Take a quick look at your feet. Are they hip distance apart? Make sure they're not super wide apart. Are your knees spinning open? Is the tail pointing at the ceiling? Let go of your head, shake it no. Shake it yes. Sink back, sit back just a teeny bit more. Breathe into it. And then on the next inhale, begin to find your way walking forward to your hands. So you can look at your hands. Decide if you want to take 1 step or 10. It doesn't matter. Takes me about 4. Drop all the way down. Let go of your arms. Hook them into your elbows. Let go of your head. Just begin to gently swing side to side, letting go of the back. Maybe invite the swaying of the hips. Get some movement moving into everything. Notice if your toes begin to grip the mat, what would it feel like to soften them out? And then on the next inhale, begin to roll up 1 vertebrae at a time, inhaling all the way up into tall mountain. Hands overhead. Now, your hands don't actually have to be right over your shoulders. They can be open a little bit, give a little space in those shoulder joints. Drop down out of the shoulders. Now, from right here, what does it feel like to draw the belly button back? Lift it up slightly. And notice when you lift that belly button up slightly, you drop out of the tailbone. So as you drop back and lift up, this drops down here. There you go. Softening the knees, softening the jaw, looking so awesome. Tall mountain. 2 more breaths, 3 more breaths. Let's do 3. And then turn those palms away and begin to move the atmosphere away from you. Lowering the arms down. And as you come into a T position, reach those fingertips away from the body. Really reach those arms out. And then continue the journey down the body. Still breathing. Still holding that core strong and supportive, yet soft. So there's room to breathe. Spinning those hands forward, Tadasana, standing mountain pose. So feel those feet anchor into the earth. Just notice the sensation of standing in your own power. With your core strong, knowing that when you're standing in your own power, no outside forces can knock you over. It's the inside forces. So stand in your power. On the next inhale, soften your gaze into the room. And we're going to step, I got to think about this, the right foot back. Okay? So step the right foot straight back, leaving the left foot forward into. The right foot back? Yeah, I'm going to do the left foot so I'm facing you. Okay. So we open up and face each other. And then open up. So we're now in Warrior 2. Sliding all over the place. Okay. And Carrie, if you want to switch feet so you're facing me, you can. There you go. So really, I just kind of want everybody in Warrior 2, facing me. So whatever leg that is, do that one. Now, let's sink down a little bit lower. So something that happens in this posture is that as we sink lower, we have a tendency to push our knee beyond our ankle. So wiggle your toes out. Wiggle your toes out a little wider. There you go. Wiggle your toes out a little wider here. There you go. Now, quad strength. So we think that we're all tight and strong. You're safe. Right here, no further, just right here. Now, belly button back to your spine. Lift up. See how when you do that, it's not a pelvic floor movement, but it's a here movement. Yes. So what I'm suggesting is that as you draw your belly button back and up, physics is the back side of the body goes down, which then drops the tailbone. Okay? Now, from this position, softly do a Kegel, just a little half Kegel. And whatever comes up, let it come up. It's okay, you're safe. Sometimes there's lots of emotion in this part of the body. This whole part of the body, not only is it a vulnerable part of the body, it's our root chakra, it's our foundation. And when our foundation's been shaken in any way, we have a tendency to clench down there, draw our knees together, sinking back into Dancing Warrior. So far we're still holding the belly button back and up, or maybe not, but we might invite it back into play here. Now, one of the things that happens in my body is when I do this, I come out of my knee. So I have to think about sinking back forward and opening the knee, because this is building quad strength. This is the top of the leg. We're all smiling and loving yoga on this first day back of the new year. Inhaling, coming right back here, sliding across the body, remembering that it's okay to move in and out. Yeah, we're rebuilding our foundations. Breathing into it. So as we invite the lateral movement into the play here, you'll all be very happy to know my back popped, and yay, that felt so yummy. Gentle in the body, gentle in the mind. So if you have the space and you want to deepen this, you can drop your hand down and go for the floor, but maybe not. Inhaling, coming back up, lifting up, letting those hands go down. So I was told a couple of days ago that I can no longer go on vacation and leave yoga. So here we are, we're gonna just spin the feet the other direction. So if you were set up correctly the other way, then you likely don't have to widen the knees. So let's not even do the arms yet, let's just do the lower body. Because when we take the arms out of play here, it gives us the opportunity to soften in to what's happening in the lower body. So my left side is my challenge side. And you'll see me come in and out of this posture a lot. So my work here is, how can I sink into my front knee and balance my pelvis, draw my belly button back and lift up, and feel safe that I'm strong enough to support myself. So for me, it's a safety thing in my head. Am I gonna fall down? Is this knee gonna give out on me? You know what? I've been doing the work to strengthen that part of my body. So I'm feeling safer and not, and safer and not, and safer and not. So that's how it works. That's how change occurs. It happens, it doesn't happen. It happens, it doesn't happen. So now, as we bring our arms into this, imagine that one part of our anchor is our tailbone dropping to the floor, and the other part is our crown going up to the ceiling. So I'm moving, everybody stay here. This looks really good. So imagine what this would feel like if you just spun, not your foot, just this. There you go. Just that subtle little movement. Teeny, tiny, subtle little movements. You're safe. You can put your toes down. You're not walking on eggshells. So our toes tell us a huge story. If you're gripping the earth, you're hanging on for dear life. And if you're lifting your toes, you're like afraid that you're walking on eggshells. Okay, so we're just going to soften everything here. And we're going to bring this back and then up, but not like an army sergeant. Kind of like how you would help your little grandson stand up. Yeah, really gentle. And then we're going to spin this knee open. So less forward and more like engaging here. Yeah, perfect. So, Linda, how are you doing? Arms, let your arms down and then bring them back up. Becky, spin that knee open a little bit. Just spin it, like engage your quad, the outside quad. There you go, good job. So if you're at home and I can see you, I will help you visually. So here we go. Everybody sinking your arms back. You guys are doing so great. We won't be here too much longer. Okay, so let's come back to center. Drop your arms down, lift up your leg, spin them forward, shake it out. Because we're gonna go back to that because we gotta finish our little rotation. Okay, here we go, spinning back around, sinking down into it. Muscle memory will help you go back there. Your muscles know, the cellular memory knows. Sinking back into Dancing Warrior. Spin that quad open here. There you go, good. Can you feel the difference? When you engage that, it opens the hip. 2 more breaths. Sink into that knee over there. Sinking, sinking. And inhaling, coming back to center, sliding across the body, elbow down, reaching up and over.
Is this the first leg we did?
This is the second leg. You probably didn't switch legs. You should spin around the other way. There you go.
Well, this is where I was when you said we're starting over. I thought you said.
Well, not at the beginning, but at the beginning of the second leg. There you go. Reach it out, feel. Now spin that heart open. Ooh, yeah. Inhaling that hand up, lifting straight up, coming up. Hands come down. Let's have a big circle. Let everything go. Big circle the other way. Look at my knees are collapsing in. I've let everything go. This is what it looks like when my core is on vacation. Okay. So occasionally you'll hear me say spin your quads, spin your thighs open, spin your quads open. It's an energetic motion of bringing yourself to the outside of your feet. Okay. So we're gonna step back together, coming back into mountain. Yep. I'm kind of feeling like we need some side to side here. Take a look down. Are you hip distance apart in your feet? Engage those quads. So as we engage the quads, I imagine that my knees are opening to my little toes. And I have such a great demonstration of what a weak core looks like because I'm very knock-kneed. So when I let go of my core, I collapse this direction. Okay? So that's what happens when we let go of our core, but when we draw up and we stand strong from our center, which our center does not necessarily mean pelvic floor. It's a gentle holding. Inhaling those hands up, exhaling through that left hip. And just feel the opening from the edge of your left hand all the way down to the edge of your left foot. It's a lateral movement. And inhaling back to center and exhaling the other way. Nicely done. Inhaling up, exhaling hands down, turning, stepping to the front of the mat. Take a nice deep inhale, inhaling your hands up overhead, exhaling swan dive forward. Welcome to the ceiling fan. Inhaling halfway up, just give a little lengthening through that spine, is what I want. And then as you exhale back down, let go of everything again, except lift up through your tail. Hook your hands in your elbows and just gently rock. Shoulders, hips, maybe wiggle through the legs. Kind of feel, where do you need to loosen? Where do you need to just maybe give yourself a little space for it to be okay that it was not perfect? That it was just, hey, you're on your mat, that's what matters. Exhale, drop those hands down. And then whichever leg wants to lead, step back into downward facing dog. Let's have 4 breaths here. And then let's release those knees back down into tabletop. And then open the knees wide and sink all the way back into child's pose. There it is. What does it feel like to fold into yourself? Giving yourself permission to come within. Pulling everything you no longer need out of your forehead, out of the third eye. And on the next inhale, rising up. Spinning yourself around. Bringing those feet into standing even while you're seated. Okay? So, drawing up, giving yourself a little hug into your knees. While you're here in this hug, feel that belly button draw back to your spine, lift up. Feel your shoulder blades come down. So as you're lifting up in the front and the shoulder blades are coming down, there's this strength that happens from the front to the back. Soft, holding through the pelvic floor, open those arms up and sink back about halfway and just hang out and breathe. Now, remember, your halfway back may not be as far as mine. Draw those knees together like you're holding a block, because you're still engaging the insides of your legs, the adductors. Growing long in your crown. Yeah, looks really good. Keep breathing. Let it go. It's okay. Do what you can do. And if you need a break, you can take a break. Now sink a little bit lower. And if you begin to tremble, which I am, that's a good place to be. Lengthen through your crown. And inhaling, coming up. Walk those knees in, give yourself a big hug. Hug yourself. Thank your body. Thank this vehicle for moving you through life. However it's moving you through life, the vehicle just shows up. Our thinking mind oftentimes runs the show, but what would happen if we let our soul run the show? What gentleness would happen? Here we go. We're going to go second round. Grow up tall, halfway back. Check in, make sure everything's strong. Belly button's in and up. Shoulder blades are down, lengthening through the crown. Breathing into it. The fire's building in my body. Sinking back a little bit lower. This time, as you sink back, roll down your spine all the way down. Opening those arms wide, lengthen through the left leg, lengthen through the right leg. Take a deep breath in.
Oh, breathe it in. And then just be so thankful for the floor and let it go.
Draw that right knee in. Bring it in close to the chest. Exhale it, draw it in. Inhale, release it out. In this position, it doesn't even matter to me if the core is engaged. Let this be about gently massaging the front body. So we're exhaling, drawing it in. Inhaling, releasing it out. Exhaling, drawing it in. Inhaling, releasing it out. This time, as you exhale, what does it feel like to bring the core into it and lengthen through the left heel? So as you lengthen through your left heel and you flatten your back to the floor, open that right arm to a T position. Feel that belly button drop to the spine, lift up, and begin the journey across the body. Now I like to pause at my hip, because this right hip on me is really tight. And if I give the hip a little space to unwind before I drop into a twist, my twist is deeper. So now my body's saying, yes, go ahead. And you slowly begin to roll over into this nice, deep twist. Now, your knee and foot may or may not reach the floor. It does not matter. Mine does not reach the floor. Lengthen through the crown, and if you have the space, turn your nose to look to your right hand. Still lengthening through that left heel. Yeah, oh yeah. A lot of times it will soften and relax. That's how easy it is to even soften and relax and support through the center of our body. So in this position, and when I draw my belly button back to the spine and lift up, my low back moves to where it needs to be rather than when it's out of alignment. Inhaling, turning the nose to the ceiling, and slowly, with support, begin to roll out of this twist. Switching hands, opening that leg wide. Have you ever noticed when we move slowly, it's way more work than when we vinyasa and move quickly? We get momentum going. So let's take a minute here and flatten our feet on the floor and just wiggle around and do 1 or 2 pelvic tilts. Feel that back flatten. Can you feel the difference between the left side of your back and the right side of your back? Just notice how when twisting opens one side and the other side's going, wait a minute, what about me? We're getting there. Lengthen through that right leg. Bring the left leg in. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, release it out. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, release it out. Exhale, draw it in and hold it in. Lengthen through that right heel. Hook that right hand across the left knee. Begin the journey. Now, before you begin the journey across, is that belly button down to the spine, lifting up. Soft, gentle lift in that pelvic floor. And I meet resistance way quicker in the left hip than I do the right hip. So give it space. Some of you might drop into a twist quicker than I do. Go there, it's okay. Everybody's journey is different. Once you find when that twist is deep enough for you, you can bring the nose into play here and look at the left hand. Double check where that belly button went. Keep lengthening through the crown, through the heel. Where can you soften and let go, yet be supportive? Sounds like a parenting technique, doesn't it? As we parent our body right back into flexibility, strength, bringing that nose back to center, beginning the journey out of the twist, flattening the back, opening the leg. It was either somebody's hip or the floor, I'm not sure which. Releasing it down, walking those feet into standing, coming back into 1 or 2 pelvic tilts. So the flattening of the back happens on the exhale. Inhale it in. Exhale it back. Inhaling and exhaling. So as we begin to prepare for Shavasana, I'm going to give you 2 choices. From right here, drop your knees open and let your feet come together. Spinning your hands open to receiving into Supine Goddess. Now this will work for some of you, and for some of you, you'll be like, no, thank you. And that's fine. If this is uncomfortable, bring your knees back to center, walk your feet out the width of the mat, and drop your knees together. Okay? Letting that sensation of the back flattening to the floor. And then for some of you, lengthening through the right leg and the left leg, coming into Shavasana. It is cool, so if you need a blanket to cover up, please do so. And find where you can just soften into the most important posture of the day. Shavasana, where we allow the body to incorporate the new information that it's been given. Softening to the floor, feeling your back body completely melt into the mat. Everything that no longer serves melting away, dropping into Mother Earth. Beginning again. As I step onto the mat, I begin again. Each day, a new day. Each moment, a new moment. Each breath, an opportunity to heal my life and create a new beginning. And gently begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Inviting the body to come back to now. Rolling to your right side. Using your arm as a pillow. Pressing up. When you're ready. Today we're going to end with 3 ohms. Ohming is optional. So we're going to take a nice deep breath in and let it out, and then we'll inhale to Om. So deep breath in. Exhale it out. Deep breath in to inhale to Om. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste.
Namaste.